Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice for radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a new Pokemon V and its accompanying new Pokemon VMAX. Plus, we get to take a little bit of a break from looking at Darkness Pokemon, which is going to be a theme of ours over the next couple of days. It's almost like they've just released a Darkness theme set or something. Now, what we've got here is Drednaw V and Drednaw VMAX. And given that the Drednaw that came out in Sword and Shield was spectacularly underwhelming and nobody really cared, I think we kind of need a bit of love for Drednaw here. Do we get a little bit of love? Let's take a look. Now, our translation does come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, one of our very favourite people here. And starting off, we got 210 HP, which is fine. But it's not amazing. I mean, Zacian has more than that. There's a bunch that do. It's alright. Retreat cost of 4 we do like. It means you can use buff padding to give yourself an extra 50 HP. That'll help. It means that you can search it out with Poker, Maniac, etc. So it's kind of lovely. Weakness to lightning sucks because Pikachu and Zekrom still sees a bunch of play. We've still got cards like Thunder Mountain and Tapu Koko and Electro Power until the rotation at least. Koko will survive the rotation, the others will not. And that does give us a reason to play Lightning decks. Having said that, Lightning gets weaker at the rotation, which will be about 2 or 3 weeks after this set is released, so maybe we're alright. Maybe we're cool with that. And then we've got a water Pokemon, which means weakness on fire Pokemon like Reshiram and Charizard and anything else that's trying to use Welder. This is a very nice thing. And it means that we've got Frostmoth to accelerate as much energy as we like. So we can get the energy on here rather nicely, and that is a very good thing. Cool. But what does it do? Well, starting off, it's actually got a really nice ability that we've seen a million times before on a million different Pokemon. Hard Shell. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Okay. Fine. We've seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen this before. We've literally seen this exact ability on Double V. We called it Soft Wool, but it was the exact same ability. And my thoughts on this ability haven't really changed since I was playing Donphan Prime many years ago, nearly a decade ago at this stage. Not quite, nearly a decade ago. It's not a reason to play the card, but it's a handy bonus. The reason I played Donphan was because when you whacked an expert bout on it, you could do 80 damage for a single energy, and you could evolve it up turn 1, so you could literally in one turn be doing 80 damage straight away, single energy stage 1 Pokemon. It was great. I didn't play it for the ability, and even then it only reduced 20 damage. But it was a handy bonus. We're playing Dubwool not for the ability, but because it does 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent's taken. So you let them get a little bit of a lead, and then you drop a reset stamp and go a little bit nuts. Okay. So we're not playing this for the ability. We like the ability as a handy bonus, but we're going to need an attack to use. Is it any good? 130 damage, the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Oh. It's actually the exact same attack as we see on the non-V Drednaw, but with 1 extra energy. Well, it's 2 water, 1 colourless rather than water, 3 colourless, which, to be fair, with triple acceleration energy, arguably makes the non-V easier to pay. And the non-V can use twin energy as well. I don't think we're playing it for this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this is a great reason to play the card. I would rather play, legitimately, would rather just play the Drednaw from Sword and Shield. I'm not saying this is bad, but I am saying that it's supremely underwhelming is the phrase I'm looking for here. aggressively fine is a phrase I tend to use. And look, stopping your opponent retreating is fun, because it means all they can do is switch out, but they might not have any switching cards on them at the moment, so they're basically stuck in the active. And then if you use something like Boss's Orders to grab a Pokemon active that cannot get out the active, then you can maybe engineer a 2-hit KO, and because they're not able to attack, because they don't have the right energy, or get out the active because you're stopping them retreating, you actually do manage to get a cheeky 2-hit KO. So okay, fine. But honestly here, I'm not loving it. I like attacks to stop your opponent retreating, but I don't like them for free energy on a 2-prize Pokemon when you're not really getting a 1-hit KO. I mean, the kind of embarrassing thing here is that you're not even getting a 1-hit KO on Reshiram and Charizard. You're 10 damage short. And I know there are plenty of ways to pay the 10 damage, but that's not the point. If I'm putting free energy on a 2-prize Pokemon, I should be KOing something I'm hitting for weakness. Boo! To be fair, if you want to stop your opponent retreating, how about just playing Rayquaza? Now, okay, Rayquaza is a promo and it only does 30 damage, but it can use Twin Energy and it's a basic. So, there are plenty of other options you've got, basically. Okay. So, not loving the V. What about the VMAX? Well, the VMAX it's better. Now, you go up to 320 HP, which is much higher, but it's still lower than a lot of the others we've seen. You keep the retreat cost of 4, which is brilliant because we keep buff padding, which can then put it up to 360, which is ginormous. You do keep the weakness to lightning. I mean, the thing is here, Pikachu and Zekrom's main attack does 150 damage, which means even before the ability will get there, they're still only actually doing 300. So they're not even getting a KO. On the V, they will be getting a KO. They'll be doing 270, which means even if you actually have a buff padding on there, they'll actually still get a KO because buff padding puts you up to 260 and Pikarom does 270. But you will survive as the VMAX, so that's kind of lovely. And the ability is exactly the same. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. And to be fair, right, I know I'm saying the ability is fine, and I said 320 HP isn't gigantic, but if we start putting this all together, it starts looking a bit ridiculous. Because actually what we end up with now is a 320 HP Pokemon that takes 30 less damage from attacks and gains an extra 50 HP. So if you want to get a 1-hit KO on this with buff padding attached, you have to do 400 damage. 400 damage! That's kind of ludicrous. It does become a very, very difficult Pokemon to KO. Okay, so we've got a little bit of bulk then, we've got something on which to hang our hat. As for the attack, 2 water, 1 colourless energy, 160 damage, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 240. I'm still not loving it. And look, you've got Frostmoth to accelerate the energy, so that's kind of lovely. And don't forget we got Glimwood Tangle, or Japan got it in the previous kind of mini set. We'll be getting it in this exact same set. And it is just the stadium version of Victini. If you don't flip heads, you get to reflip. So now you've got a 75% chance of hitting 240 damage. Free energy 240 is good. There'll still be that 1 chance in 4 that you only hit 160, although 160 will still get Reshiram and Charizard. The thing is, how much are we loving 240? Now, against Pokemon Vs, we're good, because the biggest, baddest Pokemon V we've got is Zamazenta, and Zamazenta comes in at 230, assuming they're not using something like a metal frying pan or post-rotation metal goggles. But you're not getting tag teams. No, that's a lie. You're getting some tag teams. You are getting Pikachu and Zekrom, but you're getting very few tag teams. And VMAXs start with stuff like Morpeko at 300. So when you flip ahead, to sum it up, you're getting a 1-hit KO on Pokemon Vs and GXs and non-Vs, non-GXs, but you're only getting a couple of tag teams and you're getting no VMAXs. But then again, do you need to always be getting a one-hit KO when you need to take 400 damage to be KO'd? Arguably not. And that's kind of where we sit with this. There's nothing stunning about this Pokemon. It's not like a Eternatus I looked at earlier and went, oh yeah, no, that's great. But you've got a really beefy Pokemon that can even survive hits from its biggest threats, and you're doing a decent amount of damage. You've got that nice ability that takes a bit less damage, and you've got Glimwood Tangle to help you out with the coin flips, and 240 isn't to be sniffed at, and with Frostmoth, it's quite easy to get the free energy on there. But there's nothing about this card that really excites me. I just look at it and go, that's competent. Would I play it over Lapras VMAX, which I think is probably the question? I don't know that I would. You see, Lapras doesn't have the ability, which sucks, but Lapras does, for free energy minimum, 90 damage base plus 30 more for each water energy. So free energy, Lapras does 180, Drednaw either does 160 or 240 if you flip it heads. The thing is, Lapras can keep piling energy on and go nuts, cuckoo bananas as you were. Whereas Drednaw is stuck at 240, but then Drednaw should usually be doing 240, which is more than Lapras. I'm just going to go ahead and give this 4 Wassies, and I already think that's too generous. I do think there's potential here. I think it's a very powerful deck. I think you can make a really nice tank deck doing a fair amount of damage. There's just nothing about this card that stands out as amazing, but basically everything stands out as decent. Maybe even good. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, ladies and gentlemen. I still think it's going to see play, and I still think it's going to win a few tournaments. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty good nonetheless. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.